Okay, we are live. Sorry, needed 2 more colors out of the bucket. We are live. It is Sunday. Sorry we're getting started a little later. Still on time though, according to our schedule. I'd wanted to get started a little bit earlier today, but that's okay. Shit happens. So here we are. We are working on our needle felting along with Bob Ross series today. We are working on episode 12. We're almost done episode 12. We have some grass here to finish filling in. We have a shrub still. And I don't know if we're really going to see the shrub that well once we get it in, but we'll try. We'll put it in. Excuse me. And we still have a tree to put in. And once we do that, we will pull the tape off and see how straight we were able to keep it, if it helped a little bit. I think it did help a little, to be perfectly honest. It wasn't perfect, but I think it's better than it has been. But some of that was my fault for not getting the tape perfectly on the line. But I think it did help a bit. We'll see when we pull the tape off. For those of you that would like to see the tutorial for Bob Ross's version in full, the link is in the chat. We're going to go ahead and pin that guy. And we're going to finish getting set up here in just a second. Oh, I forgot the water. We've got the glue gun pulled out. I've got the twine pulled out. I've got our dowel rod that we've painted pulled out. I don't know how much of that we're really going to need, so we'll just sit that guy over there. Get our finger protectors on. Alright, and let's get our needle set up here out of the handle. Some people don't use the handles. I don't know how you can without the handle. My fingers would be so sore, because it's just that tiny little L shape on the end of it. Okay, so let's mix some of our grass color here. I think, well, you know what, let's do our shrub first, because he's gonna sit like right on the edge here. That's probably what we'll do first here. So I might need a little bit of water. It's just regular water, nothing special about it. And I'm just kind of making a shrubby shape with my fingers. And trying to get the non-protected fingers out of the way. And we're gonna drop this guy into here. Sorry, like I said, it's a day. High pollen day here. I don't understand why we're just having high pollen days constantly, but we are. That's just a thing here now, I guess. And then we were up a little bit later than I expected to be. So then I ended up sleeping later than I had intended, but you know, it happens. So we're just kind of trying to form a shrubby shape. And my finger's there just to kind of hold it in position, so it doesn't try to twist itself or pull itself into a shape I wasn't expecting. So it is Sunday. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's good. It did take me a few minutes more to get set up than I had expected, but I always underestimate how much time it takes to set up for stream. Between getting stream info ready and digging out all of the supplies. Today took a little bit longer because I had to get the other stuff out. I knew where it was, I just had to get it and remember what I needed. I'm probably not going to go too elaborate on this shrub. Do that little bit of the gap at the bottom, but that's not going to matter, because we're going to put our grass in along the bottom, and that's not going to be visible. Okay. So let's grab our... Excuse me. Let's grab our varsity green. Which is what we're going to have our shrubby bits actually colored. So let's see how we go here. Now I know I'm putting this directly over top of the dark green that we just put in, but it'll probably still have some of the dark green poke through in places, which is really all I'm looking for there. Just so we have the shadow of it kind of sitting behind it. That's good enough for me too. And we did change the grass color off of the sketch, and that was because some colors of yarn look better together than others. And sometimes you just don't know till you get them down on top of each other. And while those colors would have worked if there was more of the one color in the piece, the fact that it didn't, and that was the only place that color was a little too distracting. And it didn't look right. Like, my eyes just kept staring at that color, and I'm like, This isn't it. So, happens. And you know what? We're allowed to change our mind. Don't like it? Change it. Change it while you can, without a huge amount of fussing, before it gets too far in and you get all the grass in and you're like, oh no. That was one where I didn't want to trust the process, because I was like, no. I don't think this is gonna work in this piece. And we already have to deviate a little bit from how Bob did his, and I accidentally left out a bush on the sketch. And then I was like, you know what? I'm okay with that shrub not being there, that little tree, the little scraggly guy that was over here. I'm okay with him being not there. So then I kind of just started going off of our sketch. Excuse me. Because Bob got real busy in the front of this. Nothing against Bob. And you can get real busy with paint real easy. Especially with how he does his trees and stuff. It's easy. To a degree. And once you're used to the technique with his paint, I should say. It's not quite so easy to do that with fluff. And making it look correct. So I was like, yeah, I don't know about this. So we decided to omit that one. And Bob says it's our world. If you want the thing there, put it there. If you want more there, put it there. If you don't have that in your world, then leave it out. So we left that one. In our world, somebody cut that tree down. It was blocking their view, I guess. Ooh, fluff. Got fluff stuck to me everywhere. Okay. We need some of our grass green. I noticed a hole in one of my fluff bags when I was getting set up. I was like, oh no, how did this happen? I had to put some tape on it. I mean, I could have just grabbed a fresh bag, but for now, I think we'll just put some tape on it and see how it goes. It wasn't that big of a hole. And the rest of the bag was in pretty decent shape, so we'll see. It doesn't really feel sticky from the inside. Well, maybe a little bit in that one spot. But it was such a small hole. I really didn't want to replace the entire bag. Oh, it's gonna be one of those days where the fluff just sticks to my face. It's already grossly hot here today. I don't know what the heat index is. We're not under a heat advisory today, so thank goodness. Or at least not yet. We'll see what happens with that. I was kind of surprised they didn't put us under one yesterday. Perfectly honest, The heck? No idea what happened there. Okay, this one's just gonna be a bit of a fuzzy mess, I guess. Alright. So let's start to get this popped into place. And I want to try to get this row and then probably one more row is how it's gonna go on our grasses here. So I'm going to snip and then tap in the loose bits from the snipped edge. And just make sure everybody's happy in there. And then we will move on to the next. I hope everybody's Sunday is going well. Now our goal is to finish this guy today. That's the goal. I think we can do it. We might go a couple minutes late if we're just about there. I think we'll be within time though. I think we will be. Okay. So trying to make sure I've got the bottom tapped in first. And this will come up a little bit in front of that shrub there, and that's fine. So that's okay. With the goal of pushing that back a little bit further. Sorry guys, I took some allergy medicine a little bit ago, but I also haven't been up yet very long. So I haven't been talking that much today. So my sinuses and everything are still waking up a bit here. And getting used to being used here. Okay. So I got a small amount of editing done last night. I do not know if I'm going to have time to get editing done tonight. I'd be surprised if I do. We have a game night with my mom tonight. So I don't have a whole lot of free time tonight. After game night, I have a couple things I want to do. So, by the time I get everything else taken care of, we will see how that all goes. I didn't pull up after the last one, and I was thinking about that as I'd started the next one. I was like, oh, no, we'll be okay. And that was a little stuck in. Like, probably a little bit more than we should have done there. Alright. So this grass is gonna hang out here, kind of overlapping that shrub arm there just a little bit. Snip that guy, and we'll get this section worked into here. Okay. So now let's start to get our last row of grass here. Oh, flamingos. Ada bunny? Is that what it was? Ada Banny? Ada Banny, I think. Thank you for the follow. Chat didn't quite keep up with that. Usually, some days it has stream elements saying stuff, other days it doesn't. At least the notification went off. Thank you for that. Hope you're having a good day. Alright, so let's get this all worked into here. We get our last row of grass tacked in on this side. Hold on, guys, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. My mom was being my mother. There's probably going to be some hammering noises. Sorry, I got distracted by something. There's probably gonna be some hammering noises in a minute in the background. Hopefully it's not too loud. If I think it's too loud, I'll go ahead and mute the mic again for a minute. But we keep forgetting to put something up on the wall for my mom, and my mom's like, oh, that's fine. And now today she's like, I'm gonna get this up stool. Where's the hammer and nails? My mom can't walk across the room without losing her balance half the time. And we're like, you're not getting on a fucking ladder. Especially considering the bed's gonna have to get moved to hang the stuff. For where she wants it done. Or the husband's gonna have to climb onto the bed. We're like, no, you are not getting onto a step stool. That's just not happening. So it might come across as some thumping. It's not on the same wall that we share, but it's still the next room over. We found out something last night that might be a problem for where we want to move, which I'm really super bummed about. But at the same time, I'm not surprised because things were lining up a little too smoothly with very few drawbacks popping up, and I was like, oh shit. And I'm bummed because it's one of the laws in that state that we're a little nervous about, and it would be a little bit problematic for us. It might not be an issue, but the husband's like, I've got to think about this now, and I was trying to look at some of the other states on our list potential where we could do the property taxes, and it's not looking promising. We'll see. It's not completely off the table yet. We'll have to see. I think we're gonna have to mix some more grass color here. Ain't that gonna be a bitch and a half? I really didn't want to mix more grass color. Well, maybe we'll be okay. Maybe we'll be alright. We'll see here. It depends, I guess, on how much ground I get covered with fanning everything out. We'll see. We'll see. Oh wait, that's what I wanted to check on. 1 second. I was gonna... Okay, sorry. Strange. I'm not sure if I just had an interaction with a bot or a person. I'm not entirely certain. Could go either way. And those interactions always leave me confused. Okay. Oh, now I can hear the hammering more distinctly. Hopefully it's not too much of an issue. Okay, so we've got just a little bit further to go here. We might be alright. Yeah, we might be okay after all. I'm gonna have some dirt sections showing through on this bottom edge, but we did over there too, so that's okay. That'll be okay. Alright. I think that side was a little bit closer together. still. That's alright. Not a huge problem. If we have any of this left, we can go back and fill in, but I'm not so sure we will. We will see about that. I might have to make a tiny one because those are some larger gaps there. Have you worked on a project long enough to the point where you're like, I just want to be done this now? That's where I'm reaching on this one. 15 is a longer, one of the longer ones that we've done. Since we've started doing 2 sessions a week. And I'm ready to be done this guy. I'm gonna be honest with you here. I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to move on to our last project here. Oh, went through the corner again. That's not what we want to do. That's not helpful. In the slightest. Because our finger is in there somewhere. Those protectors do slow the needle down, but it is still possible to go into them. Sometimes it's just more of a glancing blow. But I have actually nicked my finger with them. There. So we'll get that into there. I might like fill in that gap, or maybe this one, where it's a little extra. A bit of gappiness going on there. Just so it's not quite so much dirt in there. We do have a little bit of fluff left. Let's see about getting this corner worked in here a little bit better. So where do we want this guy to go? Want him here? Maybe? Maybe we can get him in there. Well, normally I would just work the little tiny tip of the tail back up into it. But I might try to work it in this other dirt patch here. Just to get that filled in. So we've got some of our tails here that are still sticking up a little bit. Some of our edge on the greens. Probably not really coming through on the camera very well, but I can see it there. In person. It's subtle, but it was noticeable. So since we don't have a dowel to put on the bottom, I just want to make sure that everybody's going to be attached, since this is going to be our bottom edge down here. Like, there's not going to be any hot glue. Making sure everybody's staying put. Okay, so let me put these fluff colors back in their bags, just so we don't lose track of anybody, because these colors are still usable. They haven't been mixed with any other color. Okay. Oh, we definitely have to get some more of our chocolate brown fluffed, that's for certain. I need almost the whole bag of that. So we've definitely gone through our fluffed supply. Alright, so you don't always need water on your hands. Excuse me. Just sometimes. Okay, so this tree's got some parts to him here. Where is he sitting? He's kind of sitting maybe here. How far? Excuse me, sorry. Alright, so this is branch number 1, or trunk number 1. He kind of splits off at the bottom here. And has another bit of himself. Oh, that's right. I might have to mix a tiny bit more of our grass color, but I think I can do it in a smaller amount. Because we're gonna have to put a little bit around our tree. I guess we should have put the tree in before we put that last row of grass in. In hindsight. Excuse me. The voice just does not want to cooperate today here. At all. So did you get everything moved and hung and stuff? Alright, we'll try the piece of candy. It's not a cough drop. I'm out of cough drops.
Do I need to get you a cough drop?
You don't need to go out special for it.
Okay.
Maybe the next time we're out we'll pick up some. For bad allergy to voice days, but I'm not gonna send you out in this heat just for that. Alright. So we're just working on getting our tree trunk worked in here. This guy's kind of gonna split into two. We're gonna have two main bits here. And surprisingly, that one didn't stick all that much, probably because it was elongated. And it was a little bit on the thinner side. Okay, so we've got another one. I don't think it's quite as long. Alright, so this guy's gonna attach down here at the base. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, you guys. My spit actually hit the back of my throat in just a way that made me start coughing. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. We're just having a day. Alright, how far up to... I want to take this guy is the next question. It feels a lot hotter than 91. Because my leggies are starting to sweat. That usually doesn't happen until it starts to get pretty toasty. Okay, so there's the main trunks of our tree. Alright, so I'm gonna pry that up. Alright, now we have to do our branchy boos here. If we can. Let's see here. So we've got one main guy there. We've got another guy kinda maybe about there. So we'll just attach those guys there. That section of branch got a little bit thinner than I necessarily wanted that to be. So I'm going to probably grab just the tiniest of pieces here and just kind of slip that over. It's like such a small amount. Okay, that's a little better. So that was our main branch, side branch. I've got another side branch that's gonna come off of this guy. Probably about there. So it's not really a full Y, it's kind of under those two a little bit. Maybe like a lowercase y shape between the two little army guys coming off the sides. Okay, so there's that spot in particular. And then we've got another one. Kind of coming up here. Ish. You know, wherever you kind of want it to be, it's your tree. I mean, technically, you probably wouldn't even have to put this tree in if you didn't really want him there. Okay. So we got that one. Gonna get some more fluff here. Now you want your branches to be thin but not too thin because you don't want them to disappear. Because as you're stabbing, the amount of fluff that you have will get like pulled in, so I know this looks thick, but by the time we're done, it probably will not be this thick. Okay, where's my sketch? I've got like 3 different things I'm looking at here. Okay. Make sure that we've got the pad under us there. Okay, so this guy, maybe we'll put him there. And you can see as we stabbed in, did shrink down in diameter a bit. In fact, the other one's got a spot on it that I want to thicken up here. It got just a little too thin for me. He's got like a little spot here. It's making him look like he's missing part of his branch there. that's a little better. Okay. Now, this guy. Got another little Y shape coming off. Or at least that's how I'm seeing it. Alright, so we'll snip that one loose. Our tail there, our extra, whatever you want to refer to it as. Okay, pop that guy up. Alright, he's starting to look a little more tree-like here. Okay, so this branch, our main piece, has a little army guy kind of sticking up off of him. Maybe about there-ish. In our sketch. Kind of, sort of. Now, if you find that your branches feel a little too thin for you, you can always go back and add a little bit more width, girth to them. However you want to do that. Okay, so now I've got another Y shape, but it's going to be a little bit bigger. I might need to get a little more fluff here. So I've got another Y piece about here. That I'm gonna bring up. And then this guy, we've kind of got hanging out in this direction. Okay. So. a little bit of green showing through on that guy. Wasn't too much, but alright, now I kind of need to figure out where we're putting our highlights on this guy. He doesn't do too many from what I can see. Like where I'm actually noticing them. There's a little bit like here, I think. Guess that's what it seems like. Like, I could be wrong. How far up to this? Okay, this kind of... came up this way. Alright, now I kind of feel like we need to continue that the rest of the way up, at least. So where is it on the other one? I guess on the other one, it would be, more like on here maybe, because it wouldn't be underneath. Or at least I don't feel like it would, because that would be your shadowy bit there. Or at least that's what I feel like. Alright, I'm gonna cut that one off there. I don't really think it would go up that much further. And we're gonna have leafy bits up in here. So this guy, if I start you here, trying to get this on the edge here as best as I can. It's not always easy. My finger is just there to keep the needle from pulling everything too soon. You can see it was already trying to grab all of it. So the finger there just kind of slows down how much it can get away with grabbing. And if we bring this guy up this way, so that might be enough of a highlight there. Okay, let me go back to my notes here and see what color this tree was supposed to be. Hunter green and lime green. Okay. I thought it was light green. Apparently it's a lime. Alrighty. Okay, so I kind of just did little tufts. Little rounded tufts on them. Kind of like a... not necessarily like a Dr. Seuss tree, but kind of. I guess. Kind of, sorta. Okay, so if we kind of set this guy here, hopefully that will work out. We'll see. We might have to add a little bit more fluff to it. See how this goes. So we're kind of overlapping our other pine tree, and that's fine. Well, that's not that big of a deal. It's probably good to overlap it just a little bit. I don't want to overlap it too much because we worked really hard on that one, but a little bit of overlapping should be okay. Alright. So we'll get this guy attached into there. Alright, I need our And back up. And you not... I think I did. I must have. Yeah, what the hell? We have a lime green. That's light green. Do I just have bags of fluff just vanishing? Momo, what's the matter?
Enough.
Momo, you've been out so much this morning. Give me 1 second, you guys, because now I've got another color of fluff missing here. That's forest green. Hang on, give me 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. I thought I was gonna have to dig. It was back up on the fluff wall. I just didn't realize it. I thought it said light green in a different brand. And that we can make a little bit smaller. Okay, it's a little bit airy, which is fine. And by that I mean it's not like real tightly circular. It's a little pulled apart, and that's okay. Why? Because this is just supposed to be a lighter color coming in on this guy. And if once you get that amount put in, if you're not quite happy, or if you feel like you've still got a little too much dark green showing for your liking, you can always add a little bit more. Stupid fly just scared the crap out of me. It's like, what the fuck was that? Okay. to do our next bit of fluff here. And I kind of want my dark green to be a little bit thicker, so I might have to add some more dark green to this guy. Mr. Fly, that's enough from you. Alright. Mr. Fly, this isn't a stream for you. And if we find that we need a bit more fluff to round out our tree leaves, we can certainly go back in and add some more. Which I might end up doing here. I'm gonna add some more on this side too. We just haven't quite gotten to that point yet. I'm going to turn this just briefly so I can get this area tapped in with me being able to see it a little bit better. So my goal is to get this guy done today. And I think we will be able to pull that off. I'm thinking so. Alright, I need a little bit more on this treetop here. A little too much purple coming through from the background for my liking. Like, that's something that's gonna bug me. If that doesn't bug you, then hey, cool. But I know my brain. Unfortunately, I know my brain. And that will become a bother, so we're just gonna fix that up. Right in through here. see about getting the other bit here. Maybe it's a cat fur? Guess so. Look, you. Get out of there. Okay. Alright, so this guy's gonna sit roughly about in here. And I might need to put just a little bump on the top there. Well, need to probably isn't the proper just word there. It's probably better to say I'm most likely going to because I want to. Just so our tree doesn't quite flatten out quite so much. Mr. Fly? Alright. Okay. So we do need a little bit more dark green in there. We don't need a whole bunch right there, but it's a little too much of a purpley gap right there for me. And like I was saying before, if you're not happy with the shape of something, fix it while you have the chance to fix it easily, if you're able to. Sometimes you can go with the trust the process mentality, but sometimes it's hard to overcome that, especially if it's the shape of it that's bothering you. That's not really a trust the process thing. That's more of a you need to fix that while you have the opportunity thing. Because trusting the process isn't really going to change the shape of it in that regard, unless you still have something to add to it that would alter the shape, basically. Alright, so I added a little bit more of a bump on the top of this guy. Okay. This guy was a little bit thicker. So sometimes the thicker bits of fluff take a little bit more time to get attached to how you want it to be. Sorry, my arm got tired. We usually work in, in smaller, thinner bits. Okay. So we still have one more tree section to go after this guy. But we should be done well within time today. Oh, let me turn that back. Alright, so I'm just gonna kind of get our lighter leaves tapped in here on the top of our darker green. That needs a little bit more in that one spot there. It's a little bit more spread out than I was looking for. And that's one of the better things about, less is more as you start out, like you're not sure, little bits at a time, and build it up. Because it's a lot easier to add with this than it is to take away. Taking away, while it can be done, it gets a bit messy, and then you might be undoing parts that you liked how it came out, so it's just a lot easier. At times. Although I will say this section, either my aim is just bad today, or it's just not being cooperative. Either entirely possible. I know we're sideways at the moment. I do sort of apologize for that, but it's easier for me to see. And since I'm the one stabbing with the sharp tool, I think me being able to see a little bit better is going to win out. Over it not being sideways, so sort of sorry, but I need to be able to see. We'll turn it back around, don't worry. Just have to get to that point where we are ready to turn it. And we're not quite to that point just yet. We're getting there, but we're not quite there. Sorry, just realized we hadn't pulled up too much there on that guy. And we probably should be. Okay. So let's see how we do here. Probably gonna need to add a bit more fluffy things. We need a little bit more. Not a whole huge amount, but a little bit of our lime green here. Alright. Now we might lose the smallest bit of the top edge when we go to attach our dowel rod. So keep that in mind. promise I'm not dragging this out. It's just I'm seeing bits that I'm like, yeah, we should probably come back in and deal with that. Okay. So we've got a bit more tree to fill in here. I'm like looking at the time and I'm like, oh yeah, we'll be done. We're gonna end up going a couple minutes over. Is what I'm thinking. Not exactly on purpose, but I think that's just the way it's gonna be, because I haven't even started heating up the glue gun yet. I didn't want to plug that in yet until I'm ready to be fully aware that we have a hot glue gun on the table. Kind of situation. Okay, let's get this guy. Kind of reminds me of like a gumdrop tree, like not a real gumdrop tree, but like, you know, gumdrops the candy if you like tried to make a tree out of them. Probably just me in that respect, but what the hell am I listening to? You guys can't hear it. That was awful. In my opinion. Some music just starts to sound like noise to me, and not in a good way. Like it just starts to become unpleasant, extra noise. It just becomes all encompassing. Alright. So we'll get this guy attached into here. And then we've got a couple more bits here. And that feels a little thin. I mean, it might not be in the ends, depending on how we get it. All right. So we'll get this bit of fluff attached into here. Slide over the bumper on my keyboard tray. I moved where my foot was leaning, so my knee was pushing on a different spot. Had to slide the pool noodle over. Ideally, we would have the entire length of one wall set up for streaming with multiple monitors, multiple cameras, more lighting. We don't have that much room, nor do we have that kind of money. But that would be fun. Alright, I've got one little itty bitty spot there that wants to be problematic. You alright?
Mm-hmm.
Did you feed the pigs this morning?
Yes, it did. Okay. And I filled their water.
Okay. Okay. So we've got a little bit of our lime green. So we'll work on getting this bit of lime green in on this one. I'm probably gonna have to add a little bit more to this one. Is what I'm thinking. We'll see. see how we do. Maybe not. Maybe we'll be okay. Alright. Alright, so we need a bit more. I think we need a bit more than that, though. On our last bit of tree here. Oh, and I've got to make that little tiny batch of grass green. Or a little tiny bit of grass, rather. Just trying to shape this, whether successfully or unsuccessfully. We will figure that out here soon enough. Might have to add a little bit more fluff to this, just to fill in any spots that seem a little too see-through. But let's see how we do here. So sometimes if I see a fuzz or fiber area that looks like it's not as tapped down as it could be, or maybe just over the course of the project it's gotten a little bit unstuck, I will come back in and detour and just kind of give that a couple of taps just to make sure that we're looking okay. And I'll tend to stop and do it when I see it, so I don't lose it. Alright. Let me just grab a drink here. The risk of angering the voice gods, since it seemed to settle down there. I'm terribly thirsty. Ooh, this is a lot of layers of fluff we are stabbing through. Plus the thicker felt that we used this time. My arm's getting tired. We're in the home stretch now. Okay. So we need a little bit more. of our, wait, what color was that? No, I still need you. I'm like, here, let me move this so it doesn't melt on the glue gun once I plug it in. But I still need that color. Okay. Gonna work on getting our lime green portion of our tree leaves popped into here. Alright, so we got part of it. Let's see if we can get the other half popped into here. As best as we can. Okay. Alright, so let me grab the lime green. I'm going to tuck that back into its bag. And we don't need the varsity green anymore, and we don't need our browns anymore. I do need... I'll go with our... what is this? I think this is the glorious red color. I will leave that out. Okay, so I need the smallest bit of hunter green. And I'm going to close that bag, and we need the smallest bit of our grass green. And then the smallest bit of our forest green here. That's probably too much forest green. But it didn't want to cooperate with us. Alright, this is a little much. Stick that back in its bag. Okay. So we needed just a little bit more of our grass colors, and wow, this ended up being way more than we needed. Okay. Way more. Alright, so we just need to do some grassy bits around the base of our tree here. Hindsight, should have put the tree in before we did this part. But you know what? It's okay. It's gonna be okay. We'll just come back in and we'll do this part. Or do that part now. We'll just overlap some grassy things. Oh, try not to stab my finger. Just so we don't have our tree just kind of sitting here floating. Just got some grassy guys kind of coming up over the bottom of the trunk there, or his foot as Bob refers to it as. That's not too bad there. I'm going to stick that off to the side. Okay, so now's the super tricky part. Signing it. It's not easy to sign in fluff. It really isn't. Okay. So I don't know where... Oh right, we don't have the bottom dowel rods, so we don't have to worry about that cutting off part of the signature. I mean, this looks easy. It's really not to get the lettering in here and have it look like the letters we're trying for. At least it's not all that easy for me. Put it that way. So I know you might be thinking, why aren't you making an N if it's Nisey? It's not technically. Nisey is a nickname. My actual first name is Denise. So Nisey is very much a nickname. Alright, so let's see. Sometimes I can get the symbol in. Sometimes I can't. It started out as a paw print. It was a very strange vehicle noise. Vehicle sounded like a very large cat purring. That was odd. So depending on how small I have to get this, it doesn't always come out quite right. My needle sure flexed there for a second. I thought we were gonna have a broken needle. I was like, no, we didn't get this far in this project with no broken needle for it to break now. I'm not sure how much of that we're gonna lose when we do the side part, because I forgot we hadn't cut the sides yet. No, you get back in there. Okay. Alright, I don't necessarily know that we're done with that yet. Okay. So I'm gonna move our mat, because the mat we are done with. I'm gonna take the finger doodles off, so my fingers are probably gonna be wrinkly and sweaty and all that good stuff, because they are a little tight on my fingers, because my fingers tend to swell. Okay, so that guy is heating up. Alright, so now, can we even get this off of here? Okay, that's pretty straight for us. We have the one little bump out there. That's not bad. That's really not bad, all things considered. We've had it way worse than that without the tape. Let's take a look at this side. I know this side's going to be bumped out a little bit more, because I really didn't get the tape on this side very straight. And I was like, oh, we can come over just a little, it'll be fine. So I know this side's going to have some issues. But still, all in all, pretty good. We might do that tape experiment again on another piece. Alright, so we're gonna trim up our edge here. We're gonna try to trim up our edge here. Okay, so we do have a bit of a conundrum here. Okay. Does come angle in there a bit. I'm not sure there's all that much more I can do on that there. Not great, but not terrible. We've had them worse. So let's start. Oh goodness. Scissors, don't fail me. Wow. I believe in you, scissors. I believe in you. It feels like my scissors are trying to break. Please don't break. I really don't have money for new scissors right now. I mean, I have another pair, but I don't, that's a lot of fluff. Don't know how well that would go. Alright, it's not too wobbly. So, I mean, once you get the extra off of there, it certainly looks a lot different. Alright, we need to get our bottom edge. As carefully as we can. Popped out of here. We do have a little bit of our bottom base fluff sticking out there. So we're gonna take our scissors and I'm just gonna give this a little bit of a haircut, right? This will probably be better with the snips, but the snips don't always want to cooperate with me. Alright, so I'm just kind of grabbing some of our excess here. Off the back. And anywhere where I think it's going to be an issue. Oh, I can smell the hot glue gun. Has that distinctive smell to it as the glue is heating up. Alright, so we need to figure out where we're going to attach this guy. That's not too bad. Okay, so about there. Now I have this on high. This is a dual temp gun. Be very careful with hot glue. It is very hot. It can burn you. Trust me, I've seen some bad glue gun and glue pot burns. Fuck. Okay, that made quite the mess in there. Sometimes you can get it cleaned up and sometimes you're just kind of fucked. I mean, I probably should have just left it alone. Probably would have dried better if I had. But now that is ungodly ugly. I don't want to fix this. I have one possible way to fix it. I mean, we could take this guy across. That's probably what I'll do. You don't get a whole lot of work time with the hot glue. So it's meant to be a quick fix here. So that guy's not that big of a deal. I'm trying to find my scissors. And then, okay. So, the smallest amount. On that end there. Just to keep it in hopes of keeping that from fraying. Alright. I have an old kitchen skewer that is all full of like hot glue on the ends of it that I use as my second set of fingers here at times. Okay, so this guy we're gonna flip over. Seems pretty good on the back side. Some people have those little like hot glue gun finger thingies. I think I had one set somewhere. I don't know where they vanished to. Alright, I'm just kind of pushing that down into the glue. Giving the glue a chance to solidify back there. 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, yes, the smell of hot glue. Almost smells like hair burning, but not exactly. Has a very distinctive smell. Hot wax. Hair in a hairdryer burning, you know. Although that could be the hot glue hitting our jute rope here, because the jute has a distinctive smell to it too. Alright, we're gonna let that sit for just a second. A, I don't want to burn myself, and B, I don't want it to stick to anything else. So I've taken, in case you weren't able to see, we wrapped it around 5 times. I anchored the first piece that went on the back, wrapped it, and then I'm anchoring the end piece, and then we put some glue on all of the pieces just to kind of solidify them together. I'm just going to give that a moment. To cool down. Mostly because I just want to not burn myself. Okay, that should be good enough. Alright, now we have to figure out how much of a hanger do we want. This is the same roll of jute that we've been using for a good number of these now. That should be enough leeway, I think. This was from the dollar store. We've gotten some good mileage on it. I actually had bought 2, thinking that 1 wasn't going to be enough. Surprise. No, stop. Stop trying to burn me. Please. Because that's not cool. I didn't ask you to burn my finger. Okay. So let's see, put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Gonna put a little bit there. Grab our trusty stick here. push that down into there. And then we're just gonna lay in a little bit, like not a huge amount. Maybe one trigger. Pull slowly, spread out. I'm just gonna make sure that this is all worked into there. Okay, we've got some glue stringies. Everyone's least favorite aspect of a glue gun, aside from burning yourselves. Remember, glue guns are hot. They are not for small children to use. I'd argue that they're not for some adults to use without supervision. It's kind of iffy for me to be using them, to be perfectly honest. Alright. So, I'm gonna... Now, jute can fray. So I'm gonna take a small dab of our hot glue here and just kind of put it on the end of our string here that we just snipped off. From there, I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna set that to the side, let that cool off, let that dry. This is getting there. Okay. It's not quite dry. It's still warm. It's not burning hot though. Alright. I'm gonna come back in. See if we can trim up some of that. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. I actually kind of like it with the piece of jute running across the top. It kind of gives us a little bit more of a rustic feel. Kind of. Alright, and with that, you guys, episode 12 is done. How about that? We did reach an end to this one. It took forever, but we got there. The next one in the series here is gonna be episode 13. It's the last one. So tomorrow, sorry Bob Ross channel, I'm not getting the ad revenue from this ad, so we're just gonna hide that for a second until I can skip. Okay. So the last one in this season, he's got questions that he's reading that people sent in on how to do stuff. So, and then he's got Steve painting the answers. And you can tell Steve is like super uncomfortable. There we go. So this one's gonna have some mountains, some foothills, some more water. This was a very simple looking one. Yeah, we'll see what we can do with that. We'll work on our sketch on that one tomorrow, so we can try to figure out what the hell we're gonna do with the colors on this one. Yeah, because while it looks simple in terms of painting it, it's not as simple attempting to needle felt it. because we can't make happen what you can make happen with paint and brushes and stuff. So it's a little bit trickier. But we'll see if we can work out something that we can do with the needle felting side of it in our sketch tomorrow. So yeah, that's the plan for that. But hey, we're moving on to the last one in this season, finally, like 3 years later. But I mean, this one didn't come out too bad. I did like the tape. The tape did help quite a bit. So we'll have to make sure that we do that. Was it just the tape, or was it the tape and the thicker felt? We'll find out on the next one, because this was the only piece of the thicker felt I had. So we'll be back to using the thinner classic cut craft felt tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but for this next one. We'll still do the tape, but we'll see how janky the edges get. We'll see. But that is a matter to deal with next week. Tomorrow we'll be working on the sketch. I thank you guys for joining me this afternoon. I do greatly appreciate the company while we're working through this stuff and hanging out. There's links to the socially things down below. Don't forget to check those out. There's links to the X Twitter, the Ko-fi, and the Instagram, where we have photos of other projects that we've done, not just needle felting. There's photos of gifts and paintings and other needle felted things on there, on both places. And then we also have the link to the YouTube channel. Most of the live streams are archived over there. At the end of these longer multi-week needle felts, I try to do a speed felt, where I take all the live streams and edit them down into one video, sped up in a time lapse. Husband's working on episode 10 speed felt. I'm working on episode 11's speed felt. I'm almost done 11. I'm over halfway, so it's just been taking a little bit longer because we've had other life things happening in the background that have needed and ate up more time. And it is a little time consuming to do those edits on all the live streams. So this one's speed felt will be up. Hang on, let me think about this. Probably not till November. It takes a while. November at the earliest, because I'm still finishing up 11, and then we have to get into Christmas gifts soon. So I might have to move Saturday or start doing Christmas gifts on Saturdays. We will see. I'm gonna need. We might start Christmas gifts in October when we come back. At least the mother-in-laws and her sister, because they're gonna be here. Well, her sister might not be here. That depends, because something happened where her sister's going to be delayed in coming down. So it's a good thing that the mother-in-law took her car when she went back up there. That's a whole nother story. I'll have to figure out planning at some point. But we still figure out what we're going to do for my mom. And I haven't a clue. Necessarily. I don't know. So we'll see. I will see everybody tomorrow to work on our sketch. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I hope your week starts out gently. And until next time, have a good one.